Oh, a little start on the fiero here. Got her cleaned up a little bit. It's just full of pine needles and leaves. But pulled out the trunk carpet here, kind of figuring out a plan on what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it. Initially thought of taking the trunk completely out, but I don't know about that. I know some people, they'll just cut out this lower piece and make a panel flat. So that way they got room for their exhaust and stuff like that. I guess my initial idea was kind of like maybe cut it here. You would have to run some kind of a brace across. And then just make like two little pockets. Then having this all open. But don't know about that part yet. Still a lot of work to be done on this car before I can even attempt to put that motor in there. It's a supercharged 3.8. Kind of got stuff floating around everywhere. Dual carb intake. But ultimately, this car is going to look pretty much stock. The interior, other than changing the radio, I don't think I'm going to do too much. Maybe a gauge pod on the A-pillar. Like a triple one for like fuel to air ratio. Boost. Maybe just two. Because I mean the car's got the rest of the gauges on it. I'm gonna have to run an oil pressure gauge. It looks like there's no oil. Oh, never mind. It's got the GT gauges. So, but other than that, I mean, really the interior is not too bad. Other than some fading and cracking up there, and this already had like the shifter mod done to it already, which I'm not gonna pull it completely apart because I did some screws underneath the ashtrays that hold it all together. That's all down pretty good. But initially the shifter on these cars are way high. And this one, like there's reverse, first, second, there's reverse, first, there's reverse, first, second, third, fourth. It's only a 4-speed. Not factory to this particular car. It was originally a 5-speed, but the previous owner converted it to a 4-speed for better mileage. You're talking like a mile a gallon difference, maybe 2 miles a gallon difference. So, I don't know. Seemed like a lot of work for a mile or two difference. But the shift pattern on this 4-speed is a lot tighter than the last one. I had this shortened shifter because how it works is it comes up and I think it kicks towards the driver and then up, so it makes like this bend. A lot of people, they'll cut that bend out and then you kind of grind the welds off here, then you take the upper part, bring it down and re-weld it to the bracket, and it gets a lot shorter. But maybe I might change that. I know like on the ones that they do like the Ferrari replicas, they cut little slots, mark out the speeds. So maybe that might be a better solution for something with this tight of a pattern. Because I mean, I just literally went reverse. I mean that's third, reverse, and somewhere in between that, like you see, that's third again. That must be first and reverse. So it's close. But change the steering wheel. Get the nice 3-spoke steering wheel in here. But other than that, for the most part, the rest of the car is going to look, exterior going to look the same. No major body modifications to this one. Except I'd like to paint it yellow. But here's a little fan. They must have had heating issues because there's a little tube that would blow onto the coil pack. and then kind of loops around, and then another one would blow on the alternator. So they must have some overheating issues with those electronic components. But yeah, I figured a little bit of a start. Gotta start somewhere, and well, it's starting now, so be a little slow. I'd like to have this car on the road hopefully by summer. Kind of the goal. Keeping the 4-speed manual, so it's going to be a supercharged 3.8 manual. Unfortunately, the transmissions in these cars aren't really strong enough to handle the horsepower of a 3.8 supercharged. At least from what I've read, they can't. That's why a lot of people convert them to the 6-speeds. And there's conversion kits and different CV shaft lengths and stuff like that. And I like to avoid that. But in the end, if that's what's got to be done, it's got to be done. So, but at least gonna drive the car first. I'll run it till the transmission goes out, and then I'll worry about upgrading possibly upgrading a transmission. Also, I plan on relocating the battery too. Plan on moving it to the front, free up some space. But I was kind of thinking with the supercharged 3.8 to possibly also turbo it, but keep the supercharger. I've seen one guy do that, and I think he still made like 350 horse conservatively. If I find his videos, I'll put a link in the description, because I thought that was pretty neat. It's different on a swap that's really common with these cars, so it's kind of hard to be a little different. But I think it was supercharged turbo at 3.8, kind of interesting. I gotta watch some more of his videos to see if he got anywhere on it. But I know he did have it running. I think they were in the tuning process the last video I watched, but that was like a year ago. So see if I can find him. But yeah, that's kind of a little bit of an update on the red 86 Fiero. My white one, currently at my grandparents' from when I spun out. That's the one I plan on doing more modifications to. I like to wrap that car instead of paint it, something different. And change the bumpers with SE bumpers so they don't come down so far. Like, it's more of a round and then kind of cuts in, and then the ground effects wouldn't be there. And the big difference is in the front bumper, where this you got the nice lip that kind of comes down. On the other one, it'd come down and then smooth off and cut back, so it'd be more of like a wedge shape than the GT. But I'd keep the fastback. Granted, on the other car, the fastback got wrecked from when I hit the curve, the guardrail. It kind of pushed in, it hit right here, so it busted all this up. But I actually have another one of these rear sections floating around, so I should be able to, as long as there was no major structural damage. I know there was like a kink somewhere in the frame rail up there on that other car, but this one is actually clean. A lot of times they'll rot out here in the trunk, and I don't see any rust. I'll know more when I pull the engine out and stuff like that. So this one already is more cleaner than the other one. A little bit of rusting going on in down there, mostly because of this trunk seal. This trunk seal here is bad, and water was sitting in here. So, but other than that, like even by the battery tray, stuff like that, they tend to rot up in here, and looks pretty solid. A little bit of rust down in the corner there, and probably the same on the other side. But for the most part, I mean, I'll know more once again When I pull the motor out, I'll pull the stone covers off on the inside and be able to look inside of here. As long as it's solid in there, she'll be more than plenty good. So, yeah, that's a quick little 10-minute update.